Hello, and welcome to another episode of Go, Go, Grow. If you are a B2B business looking to scale your company and your revenues, you are in the right place. I am here today joined by guest expert Ryan Johnson. He is the founder of Three Sparrows Executive Services. And we are going to talk about all things operations, advancing your company through change management, and just a plethora of ways to scale your startup, second stage, or scale up company. So welcome, Ryan.
Hey, thanks, Michelle. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about what your area of expertise is and what are you doing today and where are you taking Three Sparrows?
Yeah, for sure. As far as I think I'll start with a little bit of a background story, if that's okay.
Perfect. We love stories.
We'll keep it short for sure. I do too. I just don't like listening to, a list of things that somebody does. So yeah. I had a higher education career of about 23 years, half in baseball coaching after I got done playing, and then half in the administration side of things in admissions and recruitment and that sort of thing. So it was time for me to take those skills into the marketplace. So I took what I had done for 23 years, recruited student athletes for the playing field, and then students for the classroom, which is sales. And then, of course, I moved up into sales operations and all sorts of different operations in those two areas and fields. And so now I'm taking those sales operations skill sets that I have to the small business owner to help them scale their business, grow it, but risk less resources.
That is a fantastic progression of your skills to sports, which, I'm a sports girl, to entrepreneurship and helping others grow their companies, which, of course, I'm all about both entrepreneurship and coaching through that process. So maybe that's one of the reasons why we're kindred spirits.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things I just absolutely love about you as a person and you as a personality is I have found you to be absolutely fearless. There's no challenge that you won't take on, whether it's in traveling the world or helping others and setting aggressive goals. And when we first met, maybe spring of 2023, I was so inspired by some of the trips that you took and some of the adventures you went on. I know that you were taking a bit of an adventurous sabbatical at that time. So how does that relate? Some of those challenges you set for yourself, how does that relate to you being an entrepreneur and how it helps you better serve your clients?
That's a great question. Well, fearless is, I think, a very generous word for maybe stupid. At that time.
Willing to take risks. How about that?
Willing to take risks. Yeah, we'll say that for sure. Yeah, I think you look around when you get to be a certain age. I'm 48. When I decided to make this transition, I was 46. And in your 40s, I've just found, I work with a lot of men at my church with men's discipleship, stuff like that. At about 40, a man kind of takes assessment of his life and is like, okay, what have I done? How has it contributed? And then how have my goals and visions, how have they changed? And what do I really want to do? Because, man, this life is moving fast. And so we want to get the most out of our lives. And so that was me. And I really felt like the Lord was just moving me to a more challenging season of my life. And it certainly has been that. However, it has also shown me, I've learned so much in the past 2 years since I've made this transition out of higher education into business. And now I'm poised and ready to really have honed my skill sets to help these business owners scale. I love small business. I mean, if we don't support small business, our economy's in bad shape. And so that's a strong passion of mine. Also, it's a strong passion of mine to be able to support these executive leaders, these presidents, these visionaries that have these great ideas and are killing it, but they're getting stuck in their business, and they don't have the right people to come in to help them get unstuck. Now, when I was an executive leader, I often had to, it was a challenge because you had to, as a vice president, I had to balance a budget, the people, all of the different concerns and that sort of thing. And so many people wanted to sell me consulting and just advice and different things like that, and which is all great. But I needed people that I could bring in on a part-time basis to really help me get to the next level, because I couldn't hire any full-time, and I didn't have the budget just for someone to tell me what to do, and I didn't have time to do it. So that was the gap that was there for me. And the more I talked to my friends in business, they said it's the same gap. We need that help. And so I thought, well, I'm going to take my skill set to these small business owners. I'm going to help them grow their business and get to that next level. And really get, unstuck, I guess is what the word you use a lot too.
Yeah.
That's just created, I guess, a little bit of a fearless mentality, but that comes from my sporting days too. I mean, if you want to get ahead and you want to do something different, you want to be great, you got to get after it. And that's just really, that was just the strength of the Lord to push me out of that comfortable higher ed nest that I was in for so many years.
So sometimes it's not all home runs. Sometimes you got to bunt.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you get thrown out at the plate, you strike out. Yeah, absolutely. You got to get back up there.
Well, I'm a football girl, so that's the best I can do for baseball. Sorry.
I like football too. So yeah, there's a lot of different analogies there too.
So with that operational lens, you mentioned, sales operations, company operations, production, there's just about every functional area of a company has an operational component. And Absolutely. Like you just mentioned, if you're a business leader, it's about, what is that problem? What gap do you have? And then how do you solve it? So that brings me to the whole idea of change management, because once you have a solution, it generally involves a change. And change management is something that I know that you've focused on a lot, and you've helped so many organizations, so many business leaders kind of work through that. So can you kind of get into a business leader's head when they're like, okay, well, something's got to give.
Yeah.
And they know that that a change has to be made. Mm-hmm. How do you prepare yourself for that, your team for that, your organization for that, from an operational standpoint?
Yeah. It's a great question for sure. Yeah. Change is something that people just kind of bristle up on, and they just go, no change. But then everybody wants to grow and get better. But how do you do that without change? So yeah, it's something, it's definitely a tough thing to navigate for sure. But first and foremost, you have to prepare people. You have to give them a vision, a compelling vision of why you believe this is necessary for the business. And so if you're blowing past that and just kind of giving the standard, I'm the boss, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, which you certainly can, other people are probably not you're going to look back behind and go, where is everybody?
Yeah.
I thought I gave this great speech and you all were with me because you didn't say anything. So what's happened? And
well, they didn't say anything because they're gone.
That's right. They're gone, or they didn't understand. They were scared to speak up. Yeah. You name it. There's a lot of different reasons of why people won't come along with, but passively act like they're okay with it. Uh-huh. And so, yeah, a lot of one-to-one conversations. And let me just make myself clear here. You don't have to convince them because you're the boss. Like it's your business. But you do have to prepare them and be willing to get them ready for the change at a minimum, to where they're going to work hard and they're going to support you, even though maybe they don't get it. But you can share the vision of what would happen. Maybe they don't get the reason for the change. But you can get them on board with, if this happens, there's a possibility that you get a raise and we get bonuses and we do all these things. So you can share, don't lie to them, but realistically say, this is what I want to do for you as well. So if you can create a win-win situation, that's always great. So compelling vision and win-win situations.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. And even what you said there about they don't necessarily need to like it or buy in. True, they don't have to like it, but it's incumbent upon a leader, in again, my opinion, to present it in a way, part of that whole change management, that it's the team members have to understand the why. And
right,
part of that why is, if we support the growth of the business, or if we support making this change, the way it's going to positively impact our customers or our supply chain or our team members or whoever, it's going to support them, which in turn is going to support you.
Absolutely.
But if it's not tied back to them and they don't see, okay, this is where we all need to get in the canoe and row, they're not going to. And if they're not in there together, rowing in the same direction, maybe they shouldn't be in that canoe with you. Yeah,
that's right. Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean you have to you don't have to kick them out, but maybe deploy them elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, for sure. Yeah, that's the compelling vision, for sure. And that it incorporates all that. So you articulated that beautifully. But yeah, they do have to buy in, for sure. Yeah. They don't have to like it, but they do have to buy in. Absolutely.
And the next question for that person who doesn't buy in, particularly if they're a key stakeholder.
Right.
What's making you question this? What's your hesitancy for buying in? Is there a different lens that you're looking at?
Yeah.
Because there may be something that you've missed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. I'd love that, because you do have to be willing to be transparent and to be challenged. Because you could have a blind spot that you don't see, and you could be running off a cliff, for sure. So yeah, I think that's very, very good to ask those questions and drill down. Don't get defensive, and just drill down on their concerns.
Okay. So I'm going to paint a little picture here that is a very oversimplified personal application.
Okay.
So my husband and I just moved from Atlanta to Florida. We bought a new house. I am very much a contemporary, bolder color kind of decorator.
Yeah.
He really likes gray.
He's grayscale, you're full color.
Well, our shared office is red, and we're good with that. We love that. But the rest of the house is like, well, that's kind of bright. Well, yeah, it is. I know. So we decided, we both like blue. Well, I decided what I was going to propose, and I've learned after 10 years that, there's certain ways that you position things. Yeah. And I said, okay, so I really like this pale blue. Do you like this blue? Yeah, I like this blue. Okay, so the accent wall, I want to have this bolder blue. Oh, I don't know. That's pretty bold. So he was not excited about this. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want to discuss? What do you want to do? Oh, I don't know. Okay. So I'm like, I'll go ahead and do it. You can let me know. Oh, I really like that once it's executed. So gave him a chance throw in his ideas. What is it you don't like? Do you have other ideas?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But maybe
that would have been a good thing to say. Well, tell me, why don't you like them?
Oh, don't ask the whys. Don't ask the whys. Maybe in business, but not in that thing.
Not there.
But then once we get that into play, where are we going to put the furniture? And he's playing around, Jenga over here. And I'm like, well, what if we put this? It's not going to work. Not going to work. We put it. Oh, I like that. You got to get their buy-in.
Yeah. For sure.
So, the same thing in personal relationships, in family relationships, in business relationships. If somebody doesn't feel like their voice is being heard, they're not going to buy in. But once you throw it back to them and say, okay, well, tell me your perspective.
Yeah.
What do you see here? What's the gap that I'm not seeing?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make this change manageable?
Yeah.
So it's a successful change management.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another component of that change management is a lot like in sales. You try to get ahead of the objections and try to paint the picture, like you said, lay the vision out there, but then also you have to be able to empower everybody in the business to take ownership of the business like you would. And that is really hard to do. I get that. I understand that 100%. But to be able to incentivize, a lot of different ways you can do that, not just money,
right?
But incentivize the growth, incentivize the strengthening, the execution of things. And then when times come like this, you'll probably be on the same page. Probably everybody's seeing things like you're seeing things much better than if you keep them away from all of the all the details and all the behind the scenes work. Now, I understand there's sometimes only the three to five people executive leadership team needs to see certain things. I get that. But keep everybody empowered in such a way where they're providing feedback and you're actively listening and engaging in conversation all the time about growing and about doing your best to create win-win-win situations, for you, for them, and your clients, like you were talking about. And I think that's another great way to pre-treat this change management, but it's got to be a culture.
Culture. That's the word right there. So let me throw my other three favorite C words with culture: communication, collaboration, and cooperation.
Absolutely.
Like you just said, don't bring things on to the masses at the end. You have to communicate throughout. And I love that you brought that to the forefront. If you at the end say, okay, well, we've talked about it. We've been working on it for 9 months. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You've got to have their voice heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody wants to be heard. I think everybody inherently knows, okay, we can't do everything I want to do. I mean, I get that. We're all adults here. But yeah, if they're actively listened to and engage in that conversation all the time and in a certain meeting cadence that everybody needs to be a part of, or annual, feedback sessions, be able to, open door Fridays type of thing. There's so many different ways to create a culture of communication and collaboration that really, if it's online business, you have a certain Slack channel where everybody can, put their feedback, there's all sorts of different ways to do that. It's just important to do something and don't just wait to be perfect at it, because you're never going to be perfect at it. And I've talked to so many people, I thought, with our campus was, a couple of the campuses that I worked on were small in comparison to some major businesses out there. But when you really look at communication studies and read a bunch of books, everybody has problems with communication because there's one common denominator. It's us. We're human. People. And we're selfish, and we have a hard time, working with people. And so there can be a company of 5 people that are struggling just as much as a company of 500.
So to underscore that, what is one of the biggest challenges that married couples have? That's two people. Two people.
That's it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. You're so right. And here, I'll tell you something funny about that too, by the way. So I got married late in life. I was 35 when I got married. And my first time, hers not. And so we, she had gone through it before. So she felt like, okay, I'm going to, it's going to be much better this time. And then for me, hey, I've seen all my buddies mess this up. I'm going to be great. I'm going to be a great husband. Everything's going to be great. Less than a year in, probably less than 6 months in, I realized I'm in trouble because I'm selfish and I don't know how to communicate with somebody that I live with 24/7. And I just have not done that before. So with the grace of God, we have figured it out. We're moving forward all the time. But my goodness, it was a big slap in the face to say, I think it's me. I thought I had it all figured out, but I didn't.
It's a whole different world. It is. And when you have a married couple or even an involved couple that whether, married or not, it's a different level of communication because the feelings are deeper and more meaningful than a work relationship.
Yeah.
So communication means more. And there's more layers of it.
Yeah.
But in a business relationship, there's dollars tied to that communication.
Yeah, for sure. There's different reasons for the elevated anxiety and pressure, for sure. But it's all still the same. And I've noticed that I can keep my calm better in a work environment now once I've learned how to harness that. Because I used to be a coach, so coaches have licenses just to yell at everybody. But when you get into a professional environment, you can't do that.
I don't yell. Ask anybody.
That's good. But at home, it's really hard because your emotions are so much deeper and there's so much more riding on it. It feels like at home at times. And it's hard to communicate when you're emotional and when you're selfish. So we have to really work on those skills as business owners, as business leaders, because we're the example. So if we don't do it well, our people aren't going to do it well.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that we talked about when we were kind of developing what value we wanted to deliver on this podcast, a lot of it came down to people, because when people think about operations, when business people think about that, they think organizational ops, sales ops, but people ops is so critical. And I'm talking about things like organizational development from a people planning, human capital, which is it's not the best way to talk about people.
Right. No, we have to classify it some way.
Developing them, leadership training, any type of skill training, soft skills, and any of that coaching, mentorship, that is kind of one of your superpowers. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. From the very beginning as a coach, I didn't think it was in there because I was a player and I just wanted to play and be my best. And I kept to myself. I'm really a natural introvert and a learned extrovert. And coaching brought that out of me. And I realized what my core strength is. I'm a helper. And so because I'm a helper, I was willing to become extroverted because I wanted to help so much. I wanted to help people be better than I was on the baseball field. And then when I became a leader and an executive leader, I wanted them to be their best. I wanted them to win, have a great position too, and enjoy their career and their life as well. So absolutely. If it's all about people, if you don't have good people, then you can't go on to the other parts of operations.
Absolutely. And, I often so I was an athlete as well, high school, college. And I always referred to myself as both in sports and in sales, I was a good performer, good executor, but I've always been a better coach. And I think there's a lot of us out there that we're competitive, we're competent. Some of us are pretty darn good. But when it comes to coaching, it uses it, it stretches a different muscle.
Yeah.
And when you can relay your expertise in a matter that develops others and helps them be all they can be, sound like the Army there. I think that gives me as much or more satisfaction than any, trophy that I won or any first place finish or any, team competition that we won. And I think that's what really brings me the most intrinsic joy. So with you being in leadership development and leadership coaching, compare that to helping an organization grow through like the operational change management.
Yeah.
Can you compare the two?
Well, it's definitely different environments, but it's the same goal that we're trying to get to. We're trying to create a great team and win. And that's what I always say, in business, you have a business team and you have a win to meet your sales expectations or your revenue expectations and to keep that business solid and growing. So those people have jobs. Those people have jobs and families, and it's a big deal. Like, so if you're not into it, if you're just into business for yourself, you're just missing a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to the joy that you can have as a business owner, to really, elevate your people and be known for a generous owner. That's a special environment. I just don't think there's many out there. It's probably more than I think, but I've talked to a lot of them in the past couple of years, but so many are just like, you know what? I don't care. We just got to go keep doing the thing and keep making money. And people development, if they don't like it, they can go get another job.
Myopic vision.
And yeah, absolutely. And it's so sad. They're just missing a big piece of the puzzle. So those are the people I don't want to work with. I want to work with people that really want to create, like I said, that win-win-win situation. We're here to serve your customers first, or if you don't have a business, but we're here to serve the employees second, or 1A, 1B, because without them, you can't serve your customers.
And if you think about it, the most successful organizations are the ones that prioritize their people and make the development of their people just as much of a priority as developing their business, because you can't have an optimized company without having an optimized team.
Yes, that's right. And a lot of people look at those dollars spent and that time spent as an expense, but it's an investment into your people and ultimately into your company, to not break down. It's kind of like, if you decide to buy an amazing vehicle or an amazing home and you don't do any maintenance on it, it's not going to be worth much after a handful of years, I would say, maybe even less. And it's the same way with our business. We got to pour into the fuel or the engine, and the engine. That's what the people are. I've written a blog about that invest in the power source of your business, which is your people. And it's just so sad to see that if you don't, that people just don't talk about that. EOS talks about that as you got to have the right people in the right seats. If not, they took that also from another book, but they created a whole operating system around that. It's an old concept, but unfortunately we just don't always get it right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not just about your product. It's not just about your service. It's not just about aligning with the market needs or serving better than the competition. It's how well does your company run? How well does your team and your people run? How well do they function together? Because you cannot like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. Well, right. you can't serve your customers if your team isn't supported.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And you can't pour from an empty cup yourself. So that means the owner has to pour into themselves too. They need coaching. They need mentorship. They need, rest time, all of that too. It can't just be them. It can't just be the employees. It's got to be both. Mm-hmm. Have to be nurtured for sure.
Awesome. And I love how your athletic background, your education background, and all of that entails from a human interaction, interpersonal experience, very much intertwines to give you a unique perspective when you're working with your clients and help them realize what that investment of their time, their energy, their resources, and their commitment to their team. I mean, it just pays huge dividends to the growth of their business.
It does. And I appreciate you noticing that. And that's, like I said, huge dividends to the business, but also to just you as a human being. I mean, you feel good about what you're doing and how you're treating people. And before you know it, people are trying to get in to work with you and work for you because you're known for that. Being, that's why I love that survey out there, the top 100 best companies to work for. I love that survey. So, I mean, people are looking for it and they will work hard for you if you create an environment that people love and are heard and are valued in so many different ways. And it's the sky's the limit of how creative you can be.
Absolutely. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, well, I've got a few things I want to, or at least, a couple of things I want to give to them. Is that okay?
We love gifts.
You can't go to a dinner party without some gifts, right? So, well, first of all, I do want to say that at 3sparrowses.com, I have blogs there, free resources, education. They can certainly go do that. I do have a course there that I created if they're interested in some of these soft skills development that we've talked about. For sure. But I want to give some more things. And something that I really value is very, very valuable to me are assessments. It doesn't sound very fun and sexy, but assessments are so much needed. And the one that I created, I want to give to your audience is very easy. It's a PDF. Just tells you what the assessment's all about. But really what it's trying to do is to show that gap, in the 3 P's of operation. That I define them as: people, processes, and productivity. People being the first, and like we talked about. So I want to give that to them too. And this is unique. This is something I've heard from somebody else that I do. You don't have to give me an email at all. You can just literally click the button here at 3sparrowses.com/framework and download the PDF guide. And then within that guide, once they do the assessment, if they have more questions, they just want to discuss their business because they see some gaps or they're curious about what this could look like in their business, and then they can go ahead and schedule a time on my calendar for a 30-minute or so session just to discuss it, just to talk about it. No sales pitch, just let me just hear about your business and where you're at, what you need. And whether I can help them or not, I'm going to get them connected with somebody that can help them if I can't. This is all about a win-win situation. So 3sparrowses.com/framework. Would love for them to download that today.
Let's clarify. That is the number 3, not the word 3.
That's right. Yes. Thank you. The number 3, sparrows as in the bird, and then ES as in executiveservices.com/framework.
Well, that is a very generous offer. So I'm going to thank you on behalf of our audience. And we will definitely put that in the show notes as well. And also in the posting on LinkedIn when we announce that this show has been premiered on both YouTube and on Apple, Spotify, all your favorite podcast outlets. Well, thank you, Ryan, so much for joining me today.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Well, you are so welcome. And for everyone watching, if you are thinking of any gaps that you know of in your operations, or you suspect, maybe there's a way I can do this better, reach out to Ryan. If you're looking to scale your company, whether you're a startup, a second stage, a scale up, maybe you're just thinking, I've got a great idea for a product or service, you can absolutely get in touch with me, revenuechasers.com. Check out gogogrowshow.com. Connect with me personally. There's just a plethora of information on YouTube for both Revenue Chasers and Go Go Grow. Love to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing you on another Go Go Grow. Have a wonderful day.